Welcome to Insights, everyone. I'm Nnamdi Odipo. If peace is an essential component of nationhood, then it is proper to state that it is indeed a tool for sustainable development in any nation. And so in this episode, we will take a look at peace-building efforts towards resolving the prolonged crisis in southern Kaduna, particularly the new approach being brought in by various groups, including the government at federal and state levels and other stakeholders, such as the Nigerian Christian Pilgrims Commission, among others. Well, Elizabeth Omori will also be giving us an interview along the lines of peace and nation building. Elizabeth?
Our focus on the media review segment this week is also national unity. We will be examining the role of the media in all of this and analyze factors responsible for this unity.
Indeed, very well. Let's begin with the discussion. One of the conspicuous elements on the opening page of the official website of the Nigerian Christian Pilgrim Commission is the vision statement. In the opening part, it infers a readiness to providing excellent services and administration to Nigerian Christians who perform pilgrimage to holy sites around the world. The latter part of the vision statement is, however, what I find truly intriguing, and incidentally is also an area where the new management board of the NCPC seems keenly interested in accomplishing. Executive Secretary, Nigeria Christian Pilgrim Commission, Reverend Yakubu Pam, joins me in the studio. Welcome to Insight.
Thank you.
Reverend Pam, let's begin by giving some insights into the latter part of the vision statement of the NCPC. That is the part that reads as follows: an organization with high spiritual content capable of being translated into action for national development, security, probity and accountability, of course, in line with the policy of the federal government of Nigeria. So apparently the vision from the beginning has always surpassed NCPC merely being a tourism agency. Is that not so?
Not merely or purely a tourism agency, because if you just say that, it removes the spiritual aspect of it. Tourism is people can go on for whatever reasons of exposure, whatever reasons of sightseeing, but this is beyond tourism. This is it has spiritual value. It has spiritual knowledge. The essence of the Pilgrim Commission is to touch places where our Lord Jesus Christ himself, when he was on earth, went to visit. Some of the places even include Africa, Egypt, as for example, and then it includes Rome, include Greece, all of those places. So it's actually biblical, spiritual, and that is why we're quite different with with tourism. Yes, there's tourism element, but it has the spiritual significance. It has the spiritual factor.
Okay, so I know the president appointed you to your current position sometime in June. I don't know the exact date, but you assumed office proper on the 3rd of July. Your appointment letter was quite specific on the issue of reconciliation between communities impacted by conflict, with the president, of course, pointing you in that direction. I gather that before now you've also been involved in conflict resolution in Plateau and Benue states. And so you are grounded on some of these issues already. Tell me this, as part of your peace-building initiatives in southern Kaduna, how many times have you visited that area since becoming Executive Secretary of NCPC, and what has been your message to each of the groups that you have met with?
Yeah, I think just like we've started, the president in his wisdom, who knows my background, who saw the activities I have been doing before the appointment, have added that I should go on the issues of mediation into crisis areas. And like you have rightly asked, I've been there over 5 times. The first time we went there was to talk with Mr. Governor on how we can intervene into the issue. And then he graciously granted us an open door for us to go into the issue. And we told him the best way is to allow the people of Southern Kaduna to sit down themselves and discuss issues themselves. And he actually agreed. But the condition was that if they do whatever they agreed, he is ready to implement, which is the aspect that everybody was interested. And it looks quite different with others, because people can just go and sit down and discuss and agree, and then the implementation aspect of it is not there. And so I believe that the political will from the governor to implement is there. And also I know that it's not only from the governor's decks alone. The people also have a responsibility to some of the items that may be discussed there, the traditional rulers and the religious leaders and all the rest, the youth, the women, everybody has a part to play.
Clearly, there are peculiar issues with the Southern Kaduna crisis. Historically, it is a century-old problem fed by memory, mutual unwillingness to embrace peace. And there's also the issue of ego. Let's not forget the issues of class, religion, and ethnicity. It looks like reconciliation and invariably reconstruction as well isn't definitely going to be a sprint, but a long, drawn-out marathon. In your opinion, what should matter the most when it comes to what should we place at the top of the agenda in terms of peace building in Southern Kaduna?
Yeah, thank you very much. A lot of factors have contributed to the recent crisis. However, what is the top most important is the killings should stop. Because when the killings do not stop, you do not have the environment to discuss. So when the killings really stop, we will now have an environment that we can go in. Even in our olden days, our forefathers, if there's anything wrong in the society, in the community, they sit down under the tree and discuss it. So now that we have cleared that by going to advocating to the pressure groups, we've make sure that all the pressure groups have been approached. The elders, Sokapo, Khan, JNI, Meeti Allah, the Hausa communities, the traditional rulers, and whatever, all of them we have gone through. We've made like door-to-door approach by meeting all of these people. And the consensus is that let's stop the killing, let's discuss. And it is the discussion that we're on it now. So if you ask me, the most important thing now
that you're putting on top of the agenda,
top of the agenda is the discussion. It's very important. If the killings stop, then the discussions follow. When the discussions are on, we wouldn't want people from outside to generate issues for the people of Southern Kaduna. They are the ones to bring out issues by themselves. And our intervention is to guide them in a parliamentary system where they can discuss their issues and then proffer solutions, and then we submit it to the governor. And after that, we supervise the implementation of some of the things. And beyond that, again, we make sure that the communication pipes between these people is on. The Fulanis communicate with the natives communicate with the Hausas, so that if there's anything suspicious in the environment, they will be able to iron it together.
I mean, you've raised a couple of issues, so I'll come to them later. But let's talk about the 3-day summit you have planned in Southern Kaduna, scheduled to hold. If I'm not mistaken, the theme for the summit is creating inclusive governance atmosphere. What approach is the NCPC bringing in to ensure that everybody comes to the table?
Well, the approach we have, which I always say, it is a top-bottom approach. Top-bottom in the sense that we start with the governor. It will look suspicious if we do not go to the governor. The governor can suspect us as if we go in there for something. And he gave his permission. From there, we now move to the other pressure groups and the community leaders and the traditional rulers. So that is the approach we have given to them. And what we are after is the sitting down to dialogue together, the agreement that they will, of course, they will go in, they can fight, they can quarrel, but issues are raised. There are those that they may not agree on, but there are those that definitely they will agree and say, yes, this is what we have agreed. And all of those things that will be raised, we'll make sure that we put them down in our reports. And not only to the governor alone, but everybody will have the report of what they have discussed.
I'll come back later to the issue of, the technicality of the approach you're adopting, but let's just go on for now, and then much later in the program, we'll take that up. Over the years, successive administrations have set up panels. I mean, you made reference to the one set up by the current state governor, panels of inquiry into killings in Southern Kaduna. White papers have been issued, and I mean, despite the fact that all of that has happened, the trend remains the same. It will seem that the various recommendations are never implemented as well. The panel set up by Governor El-Rufai just submitted its report quite recently, just a couple of days ago. How do you plan to factor in, even though you've talked about what you intend to do with him, how do you plan to factor in the governor's design in ensuring peace building, maybe to make things differently this time and make it more progressively?
Yeah, just like I said, in the first place, we appreciate all other panels or other committees or other NGOs that have really done one thing or the other in Southern Kaduna in the past. And those efforts are all to be put together, because in peace building, no one man can build. No Indeed. One agency can build.
Very true.
All of us, and each one has a place to operate and to help. The most important thing is to coordinate these energies together and put it together. What I'm trying to say is that the record of the past will never be neglected.
Okay.
We'll try to a kind of assessment. What has been done in the record of the past and what has not yet been done? And then also come to the present and say, what really triggered the recent attack? These are all things that we'll now go into. And so the discussions are going to bring this. We are, like I said, our role as mediators, we are not to raise issues for the people. Okay. Because when you raise issues for the people, it means you have something in your mind before you get into intervening into their issues. So we come with a clean heart, just to make sure that we moderate what will bring out a very good result at the end of it. And then thirdly, this time around, it is not just going to be the governor alone. We will make sure that issues raised, responsibilities will be given. There are issues that will be raised that the traditional rulers have a place to implement issues after the meeting. The issues could be raised that religious leaders have a place to implement other issues after the meeting, and so that not eyes will only be on the governor and the state, and then the governor have his own, and the people, everybody have to come on deck so that we see. And then beyond that again, we'll make sure that we supervise the implementation of these issues that have been raised, and that it will take us time. And let me quickly also place this in searching for peace. Okay. Definitely you must endure. You must not be carried by emotions. We're not saying that these things will be done by magic automatically to stop.
Of course.
Sometimes when you're on it, certain fresh revelations begin to come up, and certain things could interject. The devil is not also sleeping. You know, there are people who are enjoying from this crisis. So when you're about to close it up, they are thinking that their food is no more there. So they will do everything possible to react. So even when you see some reaction after the meeting or before the meeting, we are focused. We are focused. We have a target. We have a goal. It doesn't stop us from doing what we are doing. And so we keep on with the mission that we have in mind to achieve, because Nigeria is bigger than any individual, and we believe that the issue of Southern Kaduna has raised a lot of tension in this country, and we believe that the solution of it will bring unity to Nigeria, will bring prosperity back to Nigeria and good image to Nigeria, both locally and internationally.
Indeed, most, if not all, ongoing efforts are securing peace in southern Kaduna are to be commended. However, let me ask you a generic question on how best to bring about lasting peace in troubled areas. Now, the major problem we often have in our communities is the lack of vertical integration in the peace process. Oftentimes, the ordinary man feels exempted from the process. His input, fear, and grievance is not properly captured and reflected during the talks. I mean, when talks are ongoing on the table, they are often represented by the elites. I mean, people who they feel alienated from. How do we ensure a vertical integration in the process of dialogue and healing, and not the other way around?
Is by employing a principle of involvement of everybody, inclusions of everybody. You know, when you just have a target of people.
Maybe. Perhaps, Reverend, let me just come in here, and even though I know you talked about it earlier,
yes.
You've mentioned the groups that you intend to meet with,
yes.
All of the stakeholders group. Are you factoring in groups like the farmer?
Yes.
You know, whose farmland was perhaps destroyed? Are you factoring in the man in the mosques who was attacked? Are you factoring in the man in the church? The ordinary man who feels exempted from the process, that's the vertical reintegration that I mean here.
We're even bringing in victims. Just to tell you how thorough we are. We have gone to the IDPs, both sides, both Christians and Muslim camp. And if we can be able to go to IDPs and also bringing in IDPs representative in the discussion, people who have been affected, they are no more having houses. They've been destroying properties, their properties have been destroyed. It means we are very serious to the grassroots. It's not anybody that will come and represent them to speak, they will speak by themselves.
Okay.
And so the traditional rulers, they own the land. They are there, they will speak. The farmers also are there. We also have what we call a committee of nationals,
okay.
Ethnic groups. The ethnic groups nationals who have been meeting with their people. They are also there. So each of them, they are going to have a fair representation. We are targeting to have about 120 to 150 people. Fantastic. And you know how it is, the youth representative, the women representative, all will be there. But mind you, even when we come to implementation, more committees will be called in. More people to the grassroots will be called in to see that we'll move on. And we're going to make sure that we have a group of cells of peace committee, community to community, so that there will be effective communication after the discussions, after the 3 days summit, which begins from the 8th of this month to the 10th of this month, So that's to say, we've done that in Plateau State. And where you see the crisis keep going on is because there is no communications.
Okay.
If any attack comes again, there should be pipe of communication. The Muslim leader call the Christian leader. The traditional ruler call a Muslim person and call a Christian person. This is what's supposed to be after this meeting. But where there is no communication at all, it's like husband and wife at home who fight, and then they stay for 1 month, nobody is saying good morning. They see, and nobody knows what is in the heart. But when there is talking, you can be able to express yourself,
exactly.
and we understand what is happening.
Yeah, but it will seem like the talk has already begun, because
yes.
I know there was a peace summit held the other day by the Akta and the Hausa Fulani communities in Zango, Kafta local government area, where the community leaders agreed to end hostilities. They also agreed to set up a standing peace committee, as well as signing a 14-point resolution
Yeah.
It is not often that Muslims and Christians in southern Kaduna sit together at a round table for peace talk. So that is a welcome development in itself. With the ongoing efforts by the NCPC, is it possible to consider similar meetings like this in every local government area within southern Kaduna?
Yeah, like I said, we will wait on the discussions to bring out some of these suggestions, and then we'll employ on it. After we finish this, we'll still continue with a lot of things, building relationship back. And again, there's the other factor that I have not yet talked about. There are actually two factors. The southern Kaduna people, as they were living together with the Fulanis and all the rest, that has a problem for decades. And then the other factor that came in of recent, which is the bandits, is also another factor. Which we'll look into it, and the only solution to it is to make sure that we have local intelligence. Local intelligence in such a way that most of this intelligence gathering, you can't get them from internet and all the rest. The people living there in that locality knows what is happening. Nobody can come from outside and enter into environment without the assistance of somebody within the community. So we have gone into that, and we're doing a lot about that too. And you will hear the people say, we know them, but if we speak now, our families will be wiped away. Our houses will be wiped away. What protection do you have for us? So definitely things like that need to be handled so that there is this, what I call provocative killing. They will target to kill a Christian so that the Christian community will rise up and say, well, Muslims have killed us. And some other time, that is the bandits' plan. They will also go and kill Muslims so that the Muslims will say, okay, Christians have killed us, and fresh things will start going on. So these are issues that if they are not tackled all, the communities on their own could settle on issues, but this outside interjection can come in at any time and destroy all the foundation that have been laid. So that has to be handled properly.
Oh, just about rounding off, but let me bring up the issue of agenda setting by NCPC and targets as well. I read somewhere that you have a 6-point agenda for your leadership for the NCPC. Can you run this through us like real quick and briefly too, but pay more attention to how you intend to coordinate with the church in fostering interreligious harmony in Nigeria?
Okay. Well, number one, we targeted to fight corruption. The possibility of eradicating it completely to a zero level should be there, or we'll bring it to lowest as it can be. Knowing the scenario that happens in that office of late. So our sponsors, because pilgrimage is all about sponsorship, and people who have the money to go and those who don't have the money, our sponsors need to believe in us. Our sponsors need to see us with integrity. And so we must put that place in a sanity as a church, because that is an arm of church in government that must be handled very well. Secondly, we also had to do with carrying people from Nigeria to another country or countries of the world. And so the image of Nigeria matters a lot for us, not only locally but internationally. So we want to build the image of Nigeria. And thirdly, we have reorientation of the mind. What that means is that we must tell our pilgrims, those ready to travel for pilgrimage, what is our expectation when you come back. And that expectation will not achieve if the people are not ready to have a mindset, a new mindset of acknowledging that I'm going to learn so that I give it back to my country. So many thousands of people have traveled to Israel, but the question is that, are we feeling their impact when they come back? Or you just make it as a tourism, you go and come back. So this is what we are targeting to achieve by reorientation of the mindset of the pilgrims that are going to go to there. Then finally, we also want to talk about the issues of our building relationship with the church.
Yes.
Because that place is supposed to be a church place. So we need to rebuild our relationship with the church. We need to let the church know that this place belongs to you. We are building faiths of many congregations.
Okay.
Catholic, Pentecostal, Protestant, all of it, the African churches, all well building their faith. So the churches need to be involved.
You're also working to promote inter-religious harmony as
yes,
well.
And then that is the final one, which is the introduction of a peace desk, so that we can also see how we promote interfaith and also help in rebuilding Nigeria by reconciling some of the crises that are both within the Christian and outside the Christian, and we call it an interfaith. If you go to Israel, you see Jerusalem, one side is Christian, one side is Muslim, but they live together.
Of course.
So it's just a scenario in Nigeria too. So we're trying to use NCPC platform to make sure that, yes, we found ourselves in a country that not only one religion is operating. We have Christians, we have Muslims. So we must also learn that the way Jerusalem is existing, living cordially with each other, we have to do it here in Nigeria so that we build our father's nation.
Indeed, very well. Executive Secretary, Nigerian Christian Pilgrims Commission, Reverend Yakubu Pam, thank you so much for coming on Insight. It's been a pleasure. It's been a delight actually speaking with you on these very delicate matters. Thank you so much once again for coming on the program.
I appreciate it, and God bless you to all of you viewers and everybody. Thank you.
Still on peace building initiatives in southern Kaduna, my next guest, Honorable Amos Magaji, is a member of the House of Representatives. He represents Zango Kathaf Jaba, Federal Constituency of Kaduna State. A medical doctor by training, Honorable Magaji is a member of House Committee on Health and is also a vocal member of the 9th Assembly. Welcome to Insight, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
There are several efforts currently ongoing at peace building in southern Kaduna, some from the federal government, some from the state government, and interestingly from various groups and communities within the area. Some have even led to the signing, one especially led to the signing of a peace agreement between affected communities in Kafanchan local government area of the state. How critical is that to the entire peace building process? I take it that you consider that as a good signal and confidence booster at this point in time.
Thank you very much. We are delighted by every involvement to ensure that there is peace in our community. Southern Kaduna has received her own fair share of crises, and it's our sincere prayer and commitment that we should see a lasting peace, and that this peace agreement resolution that has been entered and the one that they're going forward to sign or initiate will see a lasting, will ensure a lasting solution to this ugly crisis that we have had in the past few months. And peace is important. If you think every price paid to have peace is high, then think of when there are crises. Every step taken to ensure peace is highly welcome by every stakeholder. And then with the trouble we're just coming out, every effort made is highly appreciated, and we want everyone that is involved, all the people that have voice in southern Kaduna, to also lend their voice to ensure that they talk to the people involved, and then let's see how we move forward. We don't want to see this ugly situation again happen, because as a member representing Zango and Kathaf Jaba Federal Constituency, I've been in the forefront of this situation. I've been affected in diverse ways that I cannot be able to mention. So any effort from religious organizations, community leaders, a government agency that will ensure peace in southern Kaduna, which we believe that will also result in development in that area, is highly welcome.
Honorable, community participation is key to the success of conflict resolution. As a leader, how expansive do you think these talks should go to ensure that all parties will come to the table, will continue to sit on the table and dialogue, so that the peace that we seek is one that will be sustainable?
Yes, the most important thing is that for it to be sustained, the locals, the community need to trust the process. Once the process is not trusted, building a lasting solution of sustainability cannot be achieved. We have a lot of different segments of the community. I believe that to ensure that and then wide involvement and participation, we need to have what we call focus group discussion, where you segment the population into different, look at the demography of the area, and then you talk to different segments of the population where you'll be able to get their view. And if you really want to get a solution to it, no, like as in brainstorming, no opinion should be disregarded. Indeed. By the time we sit with everybody, hear their view, hear their concern, then you'll be able to bring out a robust plan that will sustain peace in the community.
So we know that stakeholders are already leaning towards some form of community-based approach to peace building. Community approaches often lead to joint decision-making and communities taking ownerships of these peace efforts. I mean, going forward, how best can communities be fully integrated, even though I know you've just spoken to it, and how can they be best, invested in peace? Umami, don't limit this to Southern Kaduna only. Do speak generally as it affects conflict-impacted communities across Nigeria.
Yeah, in conflict resolution, dialogue is key. And then you need to look at, as I said earlier, you need to look at the segment of the population. And you look at the youth, which need to be seriously taken into the community leaders. And then you also do not neglect the religious leaders. The religious leaders are also key in conflict resolution. There are different people or a large segment of the population or the community listen to the religious leaders. So also I think stakeholders in different angles, even teachers need to be taken into consideration. So involving every strata of the community is very, very key.
Okay, so you've spoken to the issue of focus groups. A couple of minutes ago you did, and you've talked about reaching out to different strata of the population in these areas. I had an interview earlier with the executive secretary of NCPC, and I brought up the issue of vertical integration. I would like your take on that as well. Most times, the ordinary average dweller in a community feels exempted or removed from the process, from the dialogue process, from the process of talks. His grievances he or she feels are not properly captured, perhaps, by the elite appointed as representatives in any negotiation. How do we get around that feeling and perhaps correct that perception in order to ensure true representation on all fronts?
Yeah, if you really want to understand, it will be difficult for somebody sitting in Kaduna or Abuja or Lagos to really grasp the extent to which this crisis has affected the locals.
Very true.
So one of the things you have to do is that you look at the farmers, which I believe that the curfew that was imposed for over 60 days affected their farming. And then also you take market women. Some of them, through the little trading they do, that's how they feed their families. So if you take those segments of the population, you'll be able to understand, one, the extent to which the crisis has affected the community. Number two, the extent to which it has affected even their economy. So when you take those people, especially, and then you know that in our different communities all over Nigeria, farming forms, the highest percentage of employment.
More than 65%.
More than 60%. So in peace building or in understanding the effect of any crisis in the community, I think farmers groups need to be involved. Not the farmers that stay and have large, I mean the small farmers that depend on the farm product for their sustainability, and then through those small things they sell and sponsor their children, to school. So I believe that those people are the ones that are worst hit in the community. And also, you look at the community. We have also Fulani men there. They also need to be taken into consideration, building a lasting solution, so that they will not sit down and just hear that there had been peace arrangement, and then with that, like the one we had in Zangon Kata from about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So many people were taking, the Fulani communities were there, the Hausa communities were there, and then the Kataf community were there. And
it's quite a commendable one, because in a very long time, that was about the first time that you had Hausa Fulani and then the Christian communities and leaders, traditional leaders within opposing and warring communities coming together to the table to talk and reaching, in fact, taking certain resolutions, on peace in this meeting. Tell us a bit about the meeting and how it fared.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is not, it wasn't the first time rather, but I think the last one we had was broader. When the first crisis happened, I actually initiated one where the traditional rulers in the affected communities were involved.
Okay.
The religious leaders, Khan, and then JNI were also involved.
Okay.
I also called the youth and their representatives.
Okay.
The Hausa and their representatives, the Fulani and their representatives, and then all elected members of that community, both councillors, House of Assembly members, and appointees of government, the commissioners, and so on. So also we brought in the security formation in the area, Operation Safe Haven, the area command.
Okay.
Yeah, we all brought them in the same roof,
okay.
And we actually had a very robust discussion where it was even agreed that for those that left were to be called back, and houses that were destroyed, they actually agreed that they are going to see how to build or repair those houses, and farms that had been laid fallow, they agreed that the community will send youth there to cultivate the farms of the Fulani and other tribes that left the area. So we actually had a very, very successful meeting. Suddenly, after that, we're now trying to push for the curfew to be lifted. Then the other attack now happened in the community. So it now took everything back. But this one now, yes, that the Agwachap, the paramount ruler in the Kataf community organized, it was broader, because people they even consulted some people from Jos,
okay,
Nasarawa. Fulani representatives were called, beyond the shows of Kaduna, even Zango and Kataf. Okay. So that was very, very fruitful, and we had even the Peace Commission was also there, and yes, I think the commandant of Operation Safe Haven from Jos even came with his men. So it was broader, and I'm thanking God for the resolution that was reached in that one. And since then, we have had a relative peace. In fact, we were there in the meeting when we heard that the curfew was relaxed. So
yeah, indeed.
It was very good. We are
fantastic. Honorable, do we take that as an harbinger of better things to come? Perhaps we can see a replication of the same thing we just saw in your local governments, in all the local governments in southern Kaduna.
I think if these steps that are taken now were taken in time past, probably we wouldn't have entered the ugly situation we found ourselves. And I would encourage and employ everybody and every community to start robust engagement. It is too early for us to relax.
Indeed.
And we have just had the peace agreement, and to sustain it, I think every point of the resolution needs to be followed through. and continuously look into, so that we will have sustained peace.
On a final note, Honorable, what's your final words as the talks and efforts at sustaining peace in Southern Kaduna continues?
Yeah, on a final note, I want to say I'm thankful to the government of Kaduna State. I'm thankful to Governor Nasiru El-Rufai for the recent initiatives on building peace. Just recently, the Deputy Governor was also in the community. We are grateful for that. And then all the other engagement from federal government.
Indeed, I was going to point out that you're forgetting.
We're grateful for the troops that were sent. We had additional troops, so we are thankful to every concerned Nigerian. And also, I think I need to express our gratitude to everyone that contributed to the IDP. I saw Nigerians came in different places, donated foodstuff, donated materials to the people. We are sincerely grateful. On behalf of the people of Zango and Kataf, I want to express our gratitude to the people that prayed with us, the people that spoke on our behalf, the people that contributed, the people that helped to ensure that there is peace and then supply different materials to the IDP. And then for peace to be sustained, on the final note, I want to say we need to be engaging ourselves, and then what has happened has happened. I'm calling on everyone affected in whatever measure to forgive. There are irreparable losses that we have incurred during this crisis.
Indeed.
And I pray that God will help each and every one of us to be able to forgive from our heart. Secondly, as leaders, parents, and opinion leaders in the community, I want to plead with all of us that we should be careful with the narratives we are releasing in the society, so that people will not live with bitterness, with anger in their heart.
I'm going to come in here. We're out of time already. You preempted my question on your personal investment and involvement in the peace process. You already answered that. I want to thank you so much for coming on Insight. It's been quite a delight listening to you and getting your thoughts on this matter. Honorable Amos Magaji is a member of the House of Representatives. He represents Zango Kataf Jaba Federal Constituency of Kaduna State. Once again, I want to thank you very much for coming on Insight. We also want to commend you and others personally and collectively involved in investing to support the peace talks in Southern Kaduna. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us and coming on Insight.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Up next, Elizabeth Omorui with the Media Review segment.
The role of the mass media in the development of inter-ethnic tolerance cannot be ignored, hence the need for proper orientation in bridging ethnic gaps. Today we shall explore the reasons and significance of raising ethnic tolerance for national unity. And Senator Iregbu, the Editor-in-Chief, Global Sentinel, joins me now via Zoom to examine the perspective of the media in this regard. Mr. Iregbu, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
All right, the mass media play an important role in nation building. How far in this regard?
Yes, media over the years, even before Nigeria came to be, have been playing this role. Even like I said, even pre-colonial times, it has been known as the fourth estate of the realm. So media is very, very important, and that's why it is enshrined in our constitution. You know, their duties, their roles are spelled out, because they are the bridge between the leaders and the followers, between the government and the citizen, where they pass communication from the government to the citizen, and also through where the government can feel the pulse or the feelings of the citizen. And also through media, government can also gauge if their policies are right or wrong. if their policies are hitting the right target or not. So without the media, everybody will be walking blindly. You just be like a boxer boxing a shadow or in the dark without seeing your target. So media is the life wire of any society, of any country, of both the citizen and government.
When we talk about national unity, is there a gap between the media and the people?
I wouldn't say there's that gap between the media and the people. Rather, I may say there may be gap between the media and the government or the leaders. Because most times, media actually portray the feelings of the people. But it is expected that when you are trying to kind of portray the feelings of the people, as a professional, you should do it in such a way that does not also damage or be a detriment to the unity of the country or the society you are. But on the other hand, government may see media playing that role or relaying the voice of the people as being detrimental to their programs or being anti-government, but it's not so. So, like I say, it's more of government and the media not really getting along. But that's how it's supposed to. That's how it's designed all over the world. So it's not as if they will be unnecessarily antagonistic.
Okay.
But you expect that once in a while, government and media will clash because they are bridging the gap. And sometimes too, the public will also feel that the media is not portraying enough their feelings. So you can see that the media is in the middle of all these communication gaps or communication clashes. That's how it's always been.
Okay, now let's talk about disunity. What factors contribute to national disunity?
Okay, is it from the media perspective or generally?
Generally.
Okay, factors that contribute to disunity is lack of inclusiveness in governance. When you come to, you have to create an atmosphere, or even in an organization, where you have to make sure that everybody feel belong or have ownership of that enterprise. Immediately, people feel they have ownership of any enterprise, they will work to make sure it works. But immediately, some people feel alienated. They will feel that their stake are not protected in such entity. So that's one of it. Then, lack of tolerance of our differences or inability to accept that we're actually different in a way, but that difference makes it even beautiful. And that's why in nature, for those of us who are religiously inclined, we know that if God wanted everybody to be the same, we have created one language, one color, the same height, the same size, but it's a dynamic being. So, and in that dynamism, there's a beauty in it. But it's for people to understand that beauty. But that too much emphasis on our fault line, because you're not from my side, I won't see you, I won't tolerate, because you're not a member of my religion. So that issue of intolerance of our differences is also the issue. And everything still boils down. That's also what boils down to that of lack of inclusiveness. Because when some certain group feel alienated, or that appointment or decisions are taken based on where you come from, based on who you are, based on the religion or the region, these are fault lines. But ability to manage all these differences is what differentiates whether a nation is stable or unstable. So, and some people like poking into these fault lines in a way that breeds anger, breeds hatred, breeds alienation. So that is the challenges we are having.
Okay, I'd like to cut in there. We begin to wonder at the role of marriage in bridging ethnic gaps. What role has marriage played over the years? in bridging these gaps?
Yeah,
These gaps, rather.
Marriage has also, some of us who are fortunate to have intertribal marriage, you know, we have seen some of the benefits, you know. It helps you to give you a better perspective of the other side. I know when I married my wife, she has, before she met me or before we were married, she confessed there's this some erroneous or kind of theory that have been built around people by my side that is not palatable, that she has grown up believing, until when we are married, then she saw things by herself. And the same thing, likewise me. There was also so many stories. Don't marry from those, this. I said, there's no how God will create and say, this whole people is bad in this kind. God did not create any ethnic or race to be bad. It's individuals that are bad, not race, not religion. So, in a way, ethnic marriages have been helping too. And I'm sure we may not see it as tangible. It's not out there for us to see. But it's something that is intangible that been helping a lot for a lot of people to see the other, to see the good in the other side.
So how can we change? So how can we change the narrative media-wise?
Okay, changing narrative the media-wise is also for the media and the government and also the people to work hand in hand. There has to be synergy. It has been said that security is everybody's business.
Of course.
It is the role of the media to inform, educate the public that the security agencies, intelligence agencies, they are not spirits, they are not ghosts that will be in the mind and know what is happening. It's still the people that feel them actionable information, actionable intelligence information they can work with. That's where the citizen can come. And the media can help in this aspect, continue to sensitize the public. Even when there are new policies, it's still the media that will break it down.
Senator Iregbu, thank you so much for your thoughts. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And that's it on the Media Review segment this week.
And that's it on today's episode of the program. Do join us same time next week for more on Insights. I'm Nnamdi Odipo.
And I'm Elizabeth Omori. Don't forget, let's build a united Nigeria together.